we are waiting for Lydia to shove her fingers up her ass. Listen, you think I haven't? You'd be wrong, okay? You'd be wrong. My only vote would have been the difference. Prediction is up. Prediction is up. I'm gonna go do push-ups because I'm like really, I literally can feel myself getting weaker and weaker because I have not gone to the gym. And I'm literally so embarrassed because like I was like cranking it out, but now I'm like fucking like struggling. I'm fucking struggling to do this. Okay. Fuck! Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're here. Oh god. Okay. Typing test time, ladies! Ladies and gays! Me? 100 times gay color? Holy shit, it happened. Wait, what happened? Congrats. What do you mean? What happened? Oh, I read your message. Congrats. I'm an ass man. What can I say? Forget ass, boobs, and tits. Well, boobs and tits are the same thing. Are boobs and tits the same thing? Like, I kind of feel like tit is like, it's talking about like the lower boob. Does that make sense? There's like upper boob and lower boob. Boob is like the whole thing. Tit is like more of like the area surrounding the nipple. Is there a difference? Find yourself, find your anus, absolutely. Oh my god, I'm so fucking out of breath. I'm about to pass out. Check up your butt, rig. Sent out on a keyboard quest, thanks for free keycaps. Is it magnetized, excuse me? Okay, typing test prediction is up. We are gonna be doing a giveaway at the end of stream. Okay, we are gonna be doing a giveaway at the end of stream. Let's see, did I forget any song requests? Wait, not song requests. What the fuck am I talking about? We are gonna give away, who did the giveaway something? Was it Shoney's? Who was it? Was it Shoney's? Yes, it was Shoney's. Redeem giveaway something. We're gonna vogue, okay? We're gonna vogue, honeys. They get sucked on other magnetized boys. Stacy would have told you if you sent her anal. Stacy confirmed would have told me if she liked anal. Okay, confirmed. Thank you very much. Okay. Checking YouTube. That's actually such a fucking genius way of letting me know like what Kikaza had was reflection. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Typing test prediction. Okay. Let's check out this keyboard. This is what it looks like. Fully built. We got anal on here. No, I don't know if anal is my favorite on this one. I'm not gonna lie. If it's I don't know if it's my favorite. Okay, side profile right here. You know, very grippable. You know, you can grip it with one. You know, the grippage. Very smooth when you rub it all the way down like this. You know, I just really dig this weight. You know, multi-material weight. This is a heavy chungus. The feet are kind of loose on here, though. The feet are kind of loose. I'm just saying, if you're a feet person, may not really enjoy the feet on this. It do be a little bit loose, you know, like the lips. This is like lips or something. This is like lips. You're like playing with the lips, you know. Anyway, now I go last video where it's a fly. That was a hot minute ago, stupid. Stupid instant clutch. We have to be your brain. You guys do have to be my brain cells, okay? Because I don't even know. I don't know anything, okay? All right, last few moments for typing test prediction, and then we're gonna move on to our second build, okay? Is that okay? Is that all right, mate? Can we do a little side cam action? Is this side cam? Look at this. Beautiful, gorgeous. Never been done before. Keyboard, rounded sides, never been done. Truly revolutionary, you know? This is like literally iconic. Okay, we're voguing. Oh, fuck. Okay, what are we doing? Farhan Spaceballs? Oh my gosh, she has it. She talking shit. I'm out. Oh, fuck, Jesus. Oh, I accidentally just lowered my seat. Oops. Yes, thank you for the shout out to Kim. Thank you, Superior Kev. Do it. Fuck my shit up. Hello. Okay. All right. Typing test prediction time. We're gonna be typing. Okay, is that all right? We're gonna be typing. Let's see. Monkey type. Bam. Monkey type right here. We're Omega Monka typing. Okay. Here we go. Oh, this build command is still incorrect. I do apologize. The build. This is the silly works. This is the silly works switches. So it's alley play plus silly works. Oh God. Okay. However the fuck you spelled that. Okay, listen, I don't know how to spell. Okay, I didn't get into school to spell. Okay, I didn't come here to spell. Spelling bee? I don't know who it is. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, right, we're doing the typing test. I almost forgot. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, typing test. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting what I'm doing. Okay, listen, folks. Can you guys hear me? Can y'all hear me? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, anybody at me? Every counting 3P. Everybody loves saying 1, 2. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, this is the Boop Redux, aka the Boop Reduction. Okay, it's currently in stock at KBD Fans. Okay, starting at $230 something, whatever the fuck. It comes with 3 plates, FR4, ALU, and PC. We love to see it. Split backspace support, 7U support, ISO enter support, split left shift support, but we don't talk about her. We don't talk about that, okay? Okay, what is this? GMK anal. No foam, ALU play, HMX silly work switches, whatever the fuck, hyacinth. How the fuck do you even say it? Hyacinth? Is that the flower? Hyacinth? Whatever the fuck it's called. The HMX. Okay, so GMK anal, hyacinth, silly works, ALU plate, no spacebar gaskets. Okay. We're off, and we're off. Whew. Okay. Fuck my holes! I think I had, I think we, I think there is, something that happened, while I kind of lost consciousness. I lost consciousness while I was, typing. It's just how it is. And frankly, I think you guys are all bullying me. I think this is really unfair, actually. Spacebar's kind of, it's got a thick sound. Resonance? It's pinging! It's pinging. Do you guys hear the pinging? Okay. Look at this. The fucking... I fucked up this stab and it sounds so good. This stab is literally broken. It literally sounds better than the normal stabs. It's stiff. I like this better than the Pavlov. The Pavlov, I like this better than the Pavlov. I like this better than Pavlov. If you are looking to compare, the Pavlov sounded really kind of like dead. This sounds less dead. I prefer it. Does anyone care? No one cares about me. Okay, no one cares about me. I'm gonna go suck a cock. No, I'm not. Not on Pride Month, honey. They almost got me. Stretch and hydrate. Thank you. Thank you for the stretching and hydrate. We're gonna do a second build. Can I rip these keycaps off now? I agree. Burping. How many times have you burped on stream? I haven't recorded. Devastated. Oh, and what is chubby? So cringe. You guys, dude, listen, my fashion sense is chubbies. My fashion sense is fucking chubbies and like a button up. That's what I wear during the summer. Do you watch WWE? Have you heard of Rhea Ripley? I have. I've seen so many thirst traps of this Rhea Ripley person. Is it Rhea Ripley? But they're kind of like JoJo Siwa, but like cool and like much older, right? They're branded shorts for frat boys. I have the same fucking chubbies, and I wore chubbies. I wear different colored ones. I have a dark gray one. I have a light gray one. I have a tan one. I have a khaki one, and I have a blue one. I just rotate my chubbies. Is that a problem? Am I a frat boy? Do I hate gay people? Possibly. Is that what you think? American flags everywhere, very gay? For Rhea Ripley, every bisexual woman's fantasy. Like, JoJo Siwa wishes she was real. Like, it's very much giving, you know? You know what I mean? It's like cunt. It's very giving. You know what I mean? When I say it's giving, you don't break your stem. What is happening? What? That's so fucking scuffed anal. Fine. That's so fucking true. Wire in the wrong hole. The wire's not in the wrong hole, please. I know where my holes are. Don't insult me like this. Is this a gay song? Who the fuck is this? This is not gay. What? This says Pride Pride playlist. Oh my god, but it's not even gay. Jesus Christ. There's bro. Okay. Pride Party 2024. LGBTQ plus anthems. Fucking the baby is on this. The baby who literally went on an anti-gay rant about how he hates people with AIDS. Why is the baby on this? What? Okay. What? We need a different Pride playlist. I'm sorry. This is just homophobia at this point. I'm suing Google. I'm suing you. He literally went on for no reason, he just started attacking gay people. Like, so random, you know, like, it's like so random. And he's like, why would you attack me? You know, like, it's just so random. Like, I didn't do anything to anyone. Okay, what the fuck are we doing? Be who you are, Pride playlist. None of these. Why? This is not gay enough. LGBTQ songs, Pride anthem, circuit top, POV are celebrating Pride Month. These playlists are so awful. Why is Ava Max is Ava Max like cunty? Oh, she's way out of psycho. Dude, these songs are so straight. Why is this song on there? The Beautiful Things by Benson Boone. That's like the straightest, most annoying song. I'm sorry. These beautiful things that I've done. Hey! Why is that on there? Also, why the fuck did Taylor Swift pop up? LGBT Pride of 2023. Taylor Swift, you need to calm down is the first one. I'm done with these. Who the fuck is making these playlists? I Kissed a Girl, Really Don't Care. Where are the gay songs? I'm Gay. There's a song just called I'm Gay. None of these songs are gay. Literally none of these songs are gay. Harry Styles is on here. Sis, what is this? Where are the gay songs? What happened to all the gay people? I'm like actually so insulted right now. Why are these Pride playlists so bad? Gays Pride gay playlist. Like, these songs are awful. Believe Cher is gay. Cher is gay. Cupcake, let's listen to Cupcake. It's called LGBT. We're gonna listen to this one, okay? She's crowning Push Girl. We're crowning. I don't have a head mod yet. You gotta make Avo head mod so his head becomes bigger. The tip of his head becomes bigger. The tip. I think it's pronounced Avo. Speaking of bisexualism, Kristen Stewart, I love her. I never hated it like certain people. I've loved her. What do you mean you never hated it? LGBT. LGBT. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The crown is very drama. Wrong gay stabilizer. Popped a wire. I'm popping my coochie and popping wires. What the fuck are we doing? We need to like do a second build, apparently, allegedly. Okay. Should I? Okay, we gotta disassemble this board and then build it again, okay? I can't believe we have to do this. I can't believe it. I'm about to vomit. We have to rebuild a keyboard. This is literally the worst thing to ever happen to me. Homophobic stabilizer. Sounds like a stab issue. Oh wait, I'm missing a fucking screw. Oh my god. How the fuck do these screws keep coming out? What? I was missing a screw this entire time. Oh my goodness. This is a disaster. Gay stabilizer. This is fine. Stabs aren't required for anything confirmed. Absolutely. Listen, I'm just doing stab content so Insty doesn't riot, okay? Wait, we need to fucking do a payout for the fucking prediction. We need to do a payout. What should I do for my next 120? Bro, listen, I'm so sorry to all of y'all who believed in me, okay? I'm thinking about giving away... What should we give away? Should we give away... I don't know. What should we give away? Give it away. Give it away. Should we give away the Neo? What's a keyboard that's like on sale right now? What's like a nice budget keyboard that people want? Near? The Near 65? Well, how about we give away... Maybe we give away some switches and my last set of NK PBT keycaps? I think I only have PBT Ember left, maybe. I'm fucking with the LGBT. Okay, what's happening? Stabs are never Stabs are there to stop ticking. Who lets her build? Excuse me, MV Heber. What is MV Heber? Still Ducky? Everyone clapped Obama was here. Who's your favorite president? Who's your favorite American president of all time? Of all time. Should we have a poll? Who's your favorite American president? Who is your favorite neoliberal? Neoliberalism, they make me sad. They make me so, I don't know, like this. Coming out, I'm gay, full song. Macklemore, oh my God, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, same love. Bro, this is like the best gay pride playlist ever. Like, listen, Macklemore, when I was 13, I thought that I was gay. Like, he really changed lives with that one. Like, he literally, like, that single line legalized gay marriage in the United States. Like, when I was 13, I thought that I was gay. Listen, amazing. He did that. He's a king. He's my drag queen, you know? Oh my God, Stanley Tucci is straight. Stanley Tucci being straight is very much a bummer. Stanley Tucci could, like, slay, you know? He could do a little show with, like, Andy Cohen and be really gay. You know what I mean? What am I doing? We should do this top-down view. All right, what's happening? We gotta take these switches out. Take out the switches, kill all of them. I'm just kidding. Not on Pride Month. We need switches though. How many switches are really just like bottoms that like I could top, but they don't top, you know? I think, you know, some of you switches are kind of fake switches. When I was third grade, I thought that I was gay. Oh, when I was in the third grade. Okay, when I was in the third grade. So not when I was 13. Dude, this song, I remember when this song released, I was like, representation. Finally a gay, finally a gay, straight, white, cis, white rapper is representing us, you know? Let's see. I am also one of the only Sunday, you are, I think Phoebe is also a Sunday streamer. Playlist needs to be more gay. Boundaries are like glass ceilings meant to be shattered. Listen, I'm shattering bamboo ceilings. What's like the gay ceilings? You know how women is like the glass, whatever the fuck, glass ceiling? Is it the glass ceiling? And then for like Asians, it's like bamboo ceiling, whatever, or at least for like East Asians, it's bamboo ceiling. What is it for gay people? What is it for, what kind of ceiling? Rainbow ceiling? Glory holes? Yes, shatter those glory holes, honey. Shatter those glory holes. You gotta make it to the other side. Sometimes they want to box you in and you can only see out the glory hole, but you gotta bust that hole open. Just like really tear into it and make it to the other side. I agree. Shatter the glory hole. Absolutely. If I was gay, I would think hip hop. This song is so funny. I'm sorry. You know, I really liked this back in the day. This is like, he's such an ally. Boundaries are walls and I'm Kool-Aid. What the fuck? You're hiya? Prediction, one of only libido, sing on my body. Ringo Leon is here. Hello, can we get a shout out to Ringo? I wish I had that thing where I could click and just shout out people. How do I shout out Ringo? Oh God, how do I do this? Ban? On stream, she had like 3 weeks every day at the gym. The complete fell up. Very ADHD. Listen, I have a lot going on in my life. You know, I have lots of intrusive thoughts. Is that okay? Iconic. I'm into boobs. I'm into ass. Into hands. I'm into collarbones. I'm into hips. I'm into arms. I'm into throats. I'm eating all genitals. I'm a whore at heart. I know you're a whore. Okay? You whore. Your mother's a whore. I broke... No freedom till we're equal. Damn right, I support it. Yeah, I fucking broke the stab, bro. I literally broke the stab. But it works so much better when it's broken. You see that? You see this? I broke it, but it literally works so well. If I tried, even if I wanted to, my love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. Okay. Anyway, what are we doing? All right, second build. What's our second build gonna be? Should we do some like MX Browns action? Let's do this. Let's do MX. Let's grab MX Browns. Are these kale BCP? Should we also have some kale? Wait, actually, where are my MX Browns? Where the fuck are my MX? What the fuck is this? Are these stock? Oh, these are my MX Browns. Okay, are these kale BCPs? What the fuck is this? What is this? Okay, let's try these. All right, we're gonna vote on switches again, if that's okay. Is it all right? Is that all right with you? Browns, I'm leaving. Okay, buddy, listen. Colorism is not cool. Say no to racism. Say no to racism, okay? We are all one. We're all the same race, the human race, okay? Listen, buddy. Buddy! I'm into boobs. Oh, I already read that. Honey, henny. I lose all my points. Oh, what the fuck am I doing? What are we doing? Oh, we need to put switches. Poll. Poll time. Poll! Okay, switches. Switches. Kale... BCPs, Browns, Zaku, KMS, Keys, Green Jackets, and HMX Jammy. HMX Jammy. There, I'm not crying on Sunday. Start poll. Okay, 2 minutes. Oh God, if I do it's ableism and also homophobia, what are you talking about? Will I lose my points? Sexism, loose lips. Excuse me, loose lips. Loose lips. Oh, now we're playing okay, listen, that's too much Macklemore, I'm sorry. Bisexual anthem, I'm dumb, she's a lesbian. Where are the gay songs? Aretha, is Donna Summer is really gay. Donna Summer is really gay. Lollipop. Girl in Red, why the fuck is The Neighborhood in a gay playlist? Sweater Weather is in the best Pride Songs gay anthem. We are really struggling here, gays. Gays, listen, we're struggling this year. Can we just listen to K-pop? It's like really gay. Gay playlist. Cunty playlist, okay. Song, we have a song request. You have a song request? Oh, we have a song request. Oh, I didn't see it. Melanie, hello. Oh, I was just looking for songs. Thank you. Is it gay? Please tell me it's gay. If it's not, you're banned. I'm serious. Please tell me it's gay. Is it gay? Janelle Monáe, God bless. Yes, it's gay. Let's listen to Janelle Monáe. Thank you. Thank you for saving us from, you know, it has to be gay. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. It's the vagina song. Okay, Pink with a Y for Yannick. You know, people always say phallic, but no one says Yannick. You know what I mean? Y'all know the Yanussi? We just need to use the word Yannick more. You know, Yannick, slop, 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 we sucking. Omega, rig, spelling bee, bees can spell. Imagine that. Can I eat this cereal? My crave cereal. Who the fuck is winning? Browns are winning. Oh my God, is this the vagina? Are these vaginas? Is this vagina? This is vaginas. Well, it's not the vagina, it's the labia. Vagina is the hole. The labussi is the outside. I love it. That's the I love this one. It needs to be louder. I love it. 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 Can we play that song next? I love it. 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 Happy Pride Month, Melanie and Juan. Melanie and Juan are my queers. You know, my queers. I'm just gonna call them that. My queers. Okay, Browns win. We're gonna put some Browns in here, okay? We love it because we are celebrating diversity. Resub, thank you for the 3 months. How about you have so much energy? Listen, it's the cocaine. No, it's not. It's the Crave cereal I ate right before. Listen, Crave cereal is the best fucking cereal. It's underrated as fuck. Listen, I do not understand why Crave is not more talked about on the ultimate goated legendary cereal list. It's actually fucking insane and it's a crime. I would like to introduce legislation. Bren, thank you for the resub. Thank you very much. Henny. Oh God, what are we doing? Oh wait, should I update the build command? Oh, I'm so bad at updating a build command. How do I fucking do it? Like, I have to enter FossaBot each time. How do I edit it? Can I just edit it through chat? Do I have to enter FossaBot each time? How do I do it? These are so fucking bent and fucked up. Which one is this? Build? Hold up. PC play and I'm literally just putting this keyboard on. And lube plus film plus spring swap broken in Browns, okay? That's the build. Hopefully it updates. If it doesn't, then you know what? Your job is to write. No, it's not. My job is to lie, Insty. My job is to eat Crave cereal and lie. Okay? Loose lips suck dicks. Excuse me? Which lips? You gotta clarify. You gotta clarify which lips. Chapstick could do anything. I'm better about remembering to use this thing. Curry with the Prime sub. He wants me to drive him to Dallas again. Oh, except I didn't even drive him last time because I had to work really late. Hello, and also our schedules, we wanted to do completely different things in Texas, actually. I mean, in Dallas, actually. We were doing completely different things, you know, it just didn't work out, you know? Sorry, sometimes some relationships don't work out, Curry, and that's okay. How's your girlfriend? 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 Thank you for the shout out to Keyboard Father. How's your girlfriend? 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 Okay, what's happening? ISO, you can't sit with us. Now the Curvussies. Hello, Earl? Did we get a shout out to Earl? Switches up. Did I say hi to you earlier? I don't even know when you were here. Can we say hi to Earl? Can we get a shout out to Earl Switches Up? How was the rest of your stream yesterday? How was the rest of your stream? Hello, Earl. Did we get a shout out to Earl? Can we please? Did we get a... Hold up. Pink is my favorite part. What if it's not pink, though? What if I bleached it? What if it's white? Oh, thank you, Insty. I appreciate it. What if my coochie's white, though, because I bleached it? Because I just bleached my asshole. The hyacinth. Time to choke. We're choking on cacas. This is not gay. I'm sorry. What is this? Is the Black Eyed Peas gay? Foster People is the gayest one. Lord, so gay. So gay. Avril Lavigne, kind of gay coded. Kylie Minogue. High bitch, gotta stay high all the time to give you all my mind. Gay songs. Gay club. We need to listen to like club songs. Gay like club songs. No, you know what's gay? We need to listen to TGIF by XG. That's a cunty song. Yeah, that's my cunt song. Stop, and we don't need no fire cause it's already high. Fresh, so clean. Steal the scene. Drip, pourin, cause I'm a 10. I know, yeah, you know, what? Too high, together. VVSS got nothing on me. Want it, fly it, got it, I am queen. This song is so fucking cunt, okay? Clack me, we're clacked up. Clacking clacks. G-I. Thank God I'm fly. Thank God I'm fly. Thank God I'm gay. Thank God I'm fly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 you call it cocky. I call it true. My intro was broken. I'm so Tahiti, hot and breezy, off the heezy, on the IGYTTT, fresh to death, and flying as fast as I can sent me. I typed the word 38 words per minute. Is that a JLC reversal? It is a reversal, Saraji. Good eyes, good work with push-ups. Thank you. I think I hear it now. Empo Jangles is also here. Welcome in, Empo. How are you? Welcome in, Empo and Earl. Hello. Hi, Twitch Mobile can kiss. I hate Twitch Mobile. I hate Twitch Mobile. Look in the mirror. TGIF. Thank God I'm fly. Boot me, boobs in chat on Pride Month. But seriously, on a serious note though, how are my gays doing? Like, how do y'all feel this Pride Month? I'm not gonna lie, this is really bad, but like, sometimes I see like the corporate Pride stuff, like all of a sudden everything, like midnight hits June 1st and it's like rainbows. Like MLB, if you look at their Facebook page, it is like really gay. And I'm just like, please don't do this to me. Like I literally become like a little bit homophobic. I'm like, can you stop? Cause like, this is just gonna make people hate us more. Like people are like, this is like, you're not, this is gonna make people hate, like this is not helping. I just become a slightly homophobic. I'm just like, okay, buddy, like this is, you're shoving it down our throats now. I'm like, you're shoving it down my throat now. On Pride Month. Hi, sorry to bother, but have you considered, listen, I've exploding corn, excuse me. I've exploded all of my corn, okay? It's been exploding. Okay, all of it. You're a court jester. I am. Lydia is a frat bro, very gay. Mommy, muscle mommy. Rhea Ripley is a muscle mommy. Lydia's a chubby chaser. What's a chubby chaser? Is that someone who dates like plus size people? Is that what it is? Oh god, my fashion taste is baggy, short, and cargo shorts. Everything I do it. Hey, JoJo's 21 and she's 27. She looks older. JoJo looks like younger. Damn, JoJo's 21 and she's doing all that? That's kind of crazy. Nothing to it. Going stupid. Straighty made the playlist The Baby. We live in a society. Okay, we need to go to like, what are some other gay songs? Oh god. Okay, gay songs. You know what's gay? Fucking TXT, what is it? Blue Hour? Listen, those damn twinks, Twink by Twinks, that is such a gay song. It is you, and all that I want you. Get me some what's MNEK? What is that? Get some MNEK. I need me some she wit, some bop in it. What are y'all saying? So we get winnings? POV, you're celebrating Pride Month? POV, I'm choking you? What the fuck is happening? I don't know what y'all are saying. Oh my god, this is taking me forever. It's already 2 hours! Cause you're dummy dumb, POV, you're a corporation, you need to celebrate Pride Month? Hello, I don't even know what y'all are saying. Me in the mirror every day, just go listen to Chaperone. Listen, all these gays want you, anything that I want you. They made a gay playlist. Is this a gay playlist? Let's see. Oh, I've seen this one. Hi, gays. Straight agenda, mouth wide open. Like I was at the dentist. Does Liza Minnelli is Liza Minnelli? Liza Minnelli's kind of like a gay icon, right? Like gays like her, like gays like Tina Turner. Well, I think Tina Turner, wasn't she the one that was like kind of annoyed? Well, no, I think it was Diana Ross. That was like kind of low key annoyed that the gays like loved her. I think it was one of them that was like why are all these gays obsessed with me? Succubell, hello, we're sucking in chat. Thank you, Succubell, for the follow. Welcome, and we're sucking. Cybernetic. Every time everyone hated Kristen Stewart. Yeah, when she was sleeping with that director, I was like, Kristen, what are you doing, girl? Why are you doing this? Hello, I noticed you're using Focusrite audio interface. Do you recommend it? Cybernetic. I know nothing about audio interfaces. My brother bought this one a long time ago, and it was the only one that I had, so I used it. So it's not caused me any problems thus far. I think my audio's pretty clear and good. There's like no interference at all. But I think, I think it's pretty good. She got a loose screw. These jokes write themselves. Ski, I gambled 2K points. Niar, box 75% off. Niar, give me away. Give away to use condoms. 1, 2, 3. None of them. Camacho. What is Camacho? None of them. What? Hold a gun to my head, name an American president. Oh, Obama, Trump, JFK, Bush, and Bush. What's Queen King map? What is Queen King map? What is that? What do you think is like, which president was gay? I could see Obama probably was like bisexual. Obama kind of gives like bisexual vibes. I don't know. Bisexual? Okay, okay, what is happening? Andy Cohen? I've been dying for like 5 years. Who's King Harold? He's been dying for 5 years. Is he the King Charles of he's the King Charles of Norway? Zach Taylor? I forgot that was a president. Zachary Taylor. Didn't he like get shot or something? Bust right through those glory holes. Hey, thank you for the shout out to Ringo. I don't think Macklemore has ever been on the wrong side of history. Macklemore has never been on the wrong side of history. This is too wholesome. Need some Troye Sivan. Hello, stinky men. Welcome in. Happy Pride. Happy Pride to all the stinky males. Okay. Stinky males, including Insty. Okay, welcome. Shout out to Stinky, the creator of my lovely Villanelle Artisan. Is this cunt? Is this cunt? Is this a cunt song? I'll play it if it's cunt. Oh yeah. Yes. You know what? Listen, this is. You know what song I really like? That's the fashion song. Brittany Manson fashion. We're playing that next. Oh yes, this is what the energy I'm talking about when it comes to gay. This is what I want. I've noticed that like the gay men, they like listening to like cunty and like really cunty songs, but the lesbians and the bisexuals, they be listening to like the most depressing fucking songs, like the pining songs. We're talking about like unrequited. They be listening to fucking like some depressing ass shit. Like they love their fucking Conan Grays. Like it's so fucking depressing. Browns, I'm leaving that a gay. Hello, racist. Brown's girl pie. Pin of shame. That's racist. You have a song request? Oh, thank you. It's 6 vagina song. Ally Mel, we missed you in Toronto. Oh wait, Melanie didn't go to Toronto. Did Juan go to Toronto? Did Juan go to Toronto, but Melanie didn't go to Toronto? Is that what happened? Vagina's on Tessa Thompson. Which one is Tessa Thompson again? I'm not up to date with all the gays and stuff. Is that a gay? Is that another gay? Happy Pride Month, mommy? Yes, agree. Let's see, Crave. Might as well have 3 spoons. I see Philippe is here. Hello, Philippe. Crave. Might as well eat 3 spoons of Boopos and Nutella as a breakfast. Excuse me, sir. And I fucking would. Eat hot chip and lie. Anyone else munch on Cookie Crisp out the box? I don't know if I did that. Munchers? Anyone a munch? Anyone munching in here? I'll do that. All lips. What the fuck? Oh, hi, curry. Which lips? Porque no los dos. Which lips? Which lips are better? Question for everyone. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about gay music, this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I mean gay music, okay? I am the gatekeeper of gay music, and this is what I mean by gay. Gotta bag my favors early. Curry trying to use you. How's your girlfriend? How's your girlfriend? Black Eyed Peas feel straight. Okay, where are my screws? I lost the screw. I have a flash. Wait, hold on. I gotta make sure this works. Okay, it works. This is my favorite gay song, Fashion by Brittany Manson. Fashion. Do we need to blast this? I think we need to flash this. Flash drive at Windows is on. I have an extra one. Tovlo is amazing. I love Tovlo. God. Oh yeah. Gay. Brittany Manson is iconic. Brittany Manson, if y'all are, listen, Troye Sivan, that little twink. I love XG. No Nums, hello. I love XG as well, if you didn't know. XG, I am very excited for the concert. XG, everything I do, I want. Tovlo Fusebot, welcome in. We always listen to this shit. Avo is such a fucking hater. You're a representative of Kimlin Win, and you're spreading hate in my stream, and honestly, I'm gonna report you to HR. I'm gonna report you to your boss. I'm reporting you to Kim, okay? She's the captain of this shit. I'm afraid I am captain of this shit. Pink up all the shit. Corporate shit is awful. Corporate pandering's bad, but take what you can get. I think, you know, I take what you can get, but sometimes it's like too much, you know? Like, yeah, you change your look, but sometimes it's like, it's just can be a little too much sometimes. Preaching to the choir, I have LGBT friends, but damn, do they overdo? I feel like each year they like really overdo. It's like, yes, like you can change your logo to like Pride or whatever. Like people are gonna have opinions on that, but sometimes it's like too much. And I am grateful as a gay person, you know? I'm grateful as a gay person that the gays are being recognized, but you know, it's super voided, not actual stuff. It can be a little much. It can be a little much. I do appreciate the little like happy Pride, you know? And like, you know, you can change your, but sometimes it's like a lot, you know? Chubbies as a shorts, and more importantly, Jin is out in 8 days. Jin is out a lot in 8 days. I mean, out. I thought I was talking about Pride. Jin is out in 8 days. You say corn, I heard acorn. Marina and the Diamonds, Tree Fingers, welcome in. Hello, welcome. Should we listen to Brittany Manson? Brittany Manson is very gay. Amina is a independent gay black. I almost said, you said independent gay black singer. I almost said independent gay black streamer. Oh my god, my brain is rotten. Gay song. Cat and Dog is a fucking furry song. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do these keycaps now. Alright, we're gonna vote on these keycaps. Jesus fucking Christ. True, maybe she was like 20 years younger. She wanted his boss. The balance is what? Oh, right, that's true. Yeah, I think that like put a sour taste in my mouth. But you know, I still like Kristen, you know. I really was a big fan of Kristen. Like I wanted to look like Kristen Stewart. Maybe I just really also hated the fact that my Asian features, but that's a different story. Oh, fuck. Okay, Zoodit. Oh, you know what we can also use? There's a KBD fan set. Fairy! Oh, fuck! Jesus. What's this set? We can also use this. Fairy. For the gays. Fairy would be an excellent set. I'm just saying. PBD fans, fairy. Because it's like gay. Isn't that like a gay slur? Calling like gay men fairies? Oh, wait. Oh my god. Why is it so loud? Oh. Okay. Okay. The music was really loud. I didn't. I was like, why is everyone I did not know it was that loud. I'm sorry. I saw it was like fucking peaking. Oh god. Brittany Manson is cunt. What is this song? King Harold? Who the fuck is King Harold's the why is his name Harold? No mic clipping? Which one is this one? I'll play this one next. Did I already play it? Oh, I just played this. Oh god. Alright, wait, switch. Oh wait, I put switch. It's keycaps. God damn it. So this is what Fairy looks like. Fairy looks like this. Oh fuck. I just went. Anyway, keycap poll is up, not switch poll. Jesus. Okay. Fairy, you know, it's a little bit darker. But all the rest, y'all know what they look like, though. So that's what Fairy looks like. President with the long hat got gay vibes. Lincoln may be gay, you know? Lincoln may be gay. Fashion. Fleetwood looking at. I can't hear the song Stop Talking. Excuse me. Alvo is out here being homophobic. Oh my god, this is crazy. The world's homophobic. There's a Wikipedia on Abraham Lincoln's. There's a Wikipedia on Abraham Lincoln's sexuality. I want to listen to that. Which one? What song is this? Brent just sent me Ayo Fashion. What is this? Is this gay? Is this a fashion? Is that the fashion song? Boys Trip, Boys Ride. Did I miss anything? Boys for Pride. Is that a Blue Eyes Tune shirt? Yes, this is a Blue Eyes Tune shirt right here. Fashion. Should we listen to more Brittany Manson? 2000s Hot Girl Summer Playlist. What's gay? Oh my god, I can't believe we would not play this. I love this song. I love this song, bitch. Who's in Veronica Mars? Who's Veronica Mars? Oh, Tessa Thompson? Oh, Tessa... I think I know. Oh my god, this song is my fave. Oh my god. Oh yes, I know Tessa Thompson. Didn't she have that threesome with what is it? Taika Waititi and fucking Rita Ora or whatever? They were like fucking each other. Both lips have good quality. You're the gatekeeper. Simon is here. Hello? Looks like Lavender won, even though fucking like 2 people voted. Cherry, I just need... Can we change the audio levels for the microphone and music? I don't know why that was too loud. Die for each other. We're cool for the summer. Ow! Remember when I built an 1800 board and it didn't have a numpad? Wasn't it 1800? Take me down into your paradise. Don't be scared, cause I'm your body type. Okay. Wanna try? As you and I. We're cool for the summer. It's such... This song's kind of... I might have to adjust the space bar a bit, but, you know, I think it's gonna sound great. It's gonna sound lovely. Lovely, lovely. I can wanna have some fun with you. Got your mind on your body and your body on my mind. Got a taste for the cherry. What does she mean by cherry? What does she mean by cherry? Why is she... Is the cherry the clit and she wants to buy the clit? Oh, can no one hear me? Oh, God. Oh. Is the... Oh, God. Is the music too loud? Is this better? She said cherry. She wants to take a bite of my cherry. That means she wants to bite off my clit, doesn't it? That's kind of crazy. Asking for all the good of chat. Kind of selective hearing. It's not too much. It's too performative. Back up. What do you mean? You want this? This is like white girls in the club. And then she does that high note. She's like, take me down! It's so good. I love that part. That's my favorite. Mind on your body and your body on my mind. Oh my god, that high note. Listen. Thanks for the cherry. I just need to take a bite. Take me down! Don't be scared! So good. Like, truly her finest work. Try is you and I. We're cool for the summer. Row! Oh, she is so legendary. Literally legendary. Literally changed my fucking life. It's so good. We're cool for the summer. And the guitar's just like... It's so good. Underrated gay song right here. Oh my god, can we have another one? Can we have another one that's like really gay? That was like... I'm sorry, but that is really gay. Alejandro, should we do a lot of gay Lady Gaga song? Lady Gaga's really gay. We need to blast another one. Oh, you know what we said? We need to... Love Game. I'm sorry, that's a gay song. We need to blast Love Game is what we need next. Oh, yes. Listen, this was my shit. Oh, yeah. That fucking beat... Don't have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on your disco stick. Oh, so fucking good! I wanna kiss you. If I do, then I might miss you, babe. Complicated and stupid. Got my ass squeezed by sexy Cupid. That's it. Wants to play. I love game. Hold me and love me. And just wanna touch you for a minute. Give me 3 seconds to think my heart. Have some fun. This beat is sick. I wanna take a ride on your disco stick. Think too much, just bust that kick. I wanna take a ride on the disco stick. Let's play love game. Oh my god, this is so good. Listen, I need to fucking pop my coochie to this, bro. I need to be popping my pussy at the club to this. Listen, I'm about to turn the fuck up. I'm so hype right now. Oh my god. This is the shit. I don't even know how loud it's coming across on your side. Louder music, kind of good? Thank you. I don't think she noticed. What song is that? By the way, you don't watch movies, especially horror movies. Cozy Little Forest. I think I may have seen something about that, Emiphobia. It's loud. Can you speak up? Didn't know we could get a new level of loud. We were jamming, was loving it. I'm glad you're loving it. Game, I love game. Hold me and love me. Just wanna touch you for a minute. Give me 3 seconds, it's enough for my heart to quit. Have some fun, this beat is sick. I wanna take a ride in a disco stick. Think too much, let's bust that stick. You be busting cooming. Let's play love game. Do you want love or you want game? Are you in the game? Listen, this is why she's called Mother Monster. Y'all don't fucking know. She is the mother. She is the fucking mother. Listen, she doesn't give a fuck. She's like, I could have a penis, and what about it? Maybe I have a penis. She doesn't give a fuck. You standing. That was cunty. I've never heard of her before. Yes, Brittany Manson. And on your hut. No, watch Brittany Manson. She does like runway. She like copies how people do runways and catwalks. Game. Oh, I know Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell's bisexual, isn't she? Oh no, her character's bisexual. Sorry. Let's play a love game. Do you want love or you want fame? Are you in the game? On a love game. Let's play a love game. Do you want love or you want fame? Are you in the game? On a love game. Let's play a love game. Oh, this is so, I'm like so fucking, you guys think I'm like, I don't have energy right now? I'm so fucking hype right now, bro. This song is so good. It's American. Die for each other. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Anne of Green Gables, my earballs just exploded. Thank you. I'm glad it exploded. Oh, God. Listen. Is Womanizer kind of gay? Is Womanizer a gay song? We need another gay one. Just Dance is like kind of one of the straightest Lady Gaga songs, actually. I don't know about that. I think Give Me More by Britney is kind of gay. Britney's kind of Britney's like kind of a gay icon though, right? Hope you had a great weekend. And hello, the unborn. I had a lovely weekend. Wonderful weekend. The best weekend I've had ever in the history of ever. Turn the lights down. Oh my gosh, she's so mother for this. Britney. It's Britney, bitch. She's so iconic. I need more gay songs. Can y'all pin it? Because I can't scroll all the way down without losing. Can y'all pin the gay ones and I'll play it? Although we're almost done with the build, so we'll see. Can y'all pin me some gay songs? Back up, pop your cherry. Lovely weekend, unborn. I hope you had a lovely weekend. Back it up. Yes, bitch. We're cool for the summer. No talking shit. Give me more. Give me more. This is like the gay shit. This is like what the gay people want to hear at the club, you know? Listen, I want to hear this at the club and grind on some dick, you know? That's how I feel when I listen to Britney. I want to grind on dick, you know? I forgot this doesn't have mod pipe. Oh my god, this key set does not have mod. This looks so good. Lavender 1, right? Am I joking? Am I forgetting? What's this one? Is this gay? It has. Please let it be gay. Please let it be gay. Oh, this is the gay artist, the gay independent artist called Tongue. Jesus Stiluetto Snoopster. Thank you for the first time chat. Cherry MX Browns. Yes. We are using. Oh, he looks gay. He looks really gay, this guy. He's kind of got that. He's got a gay face. Some people have like really gay faces. Nah, he is gay. He is looking at me like in a gay way, you know? Back it up, yas, bitch. We're cool for the summer. Oh God, oh my Lord. Welcome in Silhouette Snoopster. Let's see. Blast another one for the homies. Boop, boop. Clackbait. Can we get a shout out to Clackbait? Oh my God! Oh my God, this is so good! Oh, yes! Yes! This is great. Yes, listen, I'm all here about supporting gay independent artists. Independent gay black artists. I'm here for it. Oh, there's another gay song. We're gonna play this other gay one. We need like a song like Q, whatever. Okay. Nostalgia. What about who the fuck is Todrick? Did we get a shout out to Clackbait? Oh yes, we did. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, Clack. We're just being really gay right now. Cocks, dicks in the air. Cocks in the air right now. Cocks in. Put your cocks in the air. We can listen to Nasty Girl too. Oh God, there's two songs playing at once. Oh God, maybe you have a penis. Lady Gaga said that. When What If I Do? And she is iconic for that. Okay, she's iconic. Okay, what are we doing? Are all these keys working? Is there like two songs playing at once? Oh no, it's not. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do a prediction. Typing test prediction, okay. Keep in mind, I am hyped up right now. I'm very hyped up. Start prediction. Typing test, Lydia for Leah. Okay, okay. Okay, love the energy, happiness, thank you. This song is so good. This song is really good, okay? Lady Gaga Beyonce song? What's this one? Is this the other one that Insty sent? Is that the one that you sent? The gay one? Let's see, For Real Everyone Do. There's a local guy, For Real Everyone Do. What is this? Oh, how many upvotes does this have now? Toxic is very gay too. Toxic is also very gay. 73 upvotes now. That has 73 upvotes, okay? Everyone though, yes and. Is yes and gay? Is gay... What's like a gay nickname for Ariana? Ariana Grande? Frankie Grande? Well, Frankie Grande is gay. Frankie Grande. Okay, wait, did we get a typing test? Okay, typing test prediction is up. Okay, what is this? This is another gay song. Should we do a giveaway? Okay, so Shoney's redeemed giveaway. Let me start up marbles. Okay, typing test prediction is up for this one. Okay. Oh God, this is the, okay. Oh God, I keep burping, I'm sorry. Zero to 100? Okay, true Sag. Let's see. Fuck me up against the wall, excuse me? True Sag. After this, nasty, up in a nasty girl, up in a nasty girl. Okay, should we get marbles rolling? Let's do one giveaway right now and then one after stream. Let's give away my last, hold on, I actually have to check which one, hold on, where, my mouse is like freaking out. What the fuck? Okay, okay, hold on. Hold on, I actually have to check which one, Conan picked, because Conan picked a set. So we're giving away whichever set that Conan didn't pick. We'll give away those keycaps and we'll give away a set of switches at the end. Okay? Hold on, let me do this. 295. Let's see. Okay, Conan picked Blossom. So we're gonna give away Ember. We're gonna give away nice PBT Ember. So that's the only one left, okay? There you go. Okay, typing test prediction is up. Okay, let's see. Which one are we doing? Royal or race? Let's do... Which one is gay? Which one is gay? Is that it for this gay song? Is there another one? Should we play Nasty Girl? Is this the new one that NC sent? Is this another gay one? Oh, I don't think I know. I actually don't know this artist. I think I've heard of them though. Lucky Few, Gauntlet, Sprint, Tundra, Tumble. Yes. Slay! Slay! You know, what is that? Who is she? BB Rexa? Slay! Slay! Okay, which one is gay? Space Chase? Work. Work, work, work. Marble Diner. Love is in the Air is kind of gay. I'm just gonna pick this one. I don't know. Let's see. Toxic is good. TOS. Joel Pride. Do we not have that one? Joel Pride? Bucky's Bump. Oh, right. Okay, he did pick Blossom. Okay, I'm also going to join. Okay, we're gonna do 88 seconds. 88 seconds to join, okay? I think the typing test prediction is still up. Last few seconds to get your typing test prediction in. Okay, get your typing test prediction in. 0 to 100. We go 0. Or you can do dash 0 to 100. I wanna dash. I wanna dash. I wanna run a dash. I wanna dash. Okay, anyway. 88 seconds. Okay, get those votes in. And we're gonna do another giveaway at the end of stream. Giving away some switches. Okay, switches in chat. Woo, let's go gambling. We're gambling. Dane, nails, hair, hips, heels, daddy as fuck. I love that. Slay. Wait, wait, what did I... Daddy? What? All right, what are we doing? Poll? Are you top, bottom, switch? I'm actually curious. 3 minutes for the poll. I want to know if people in my chat are tops, bottoms, or switches. I think most of y'all are bottoms. I'm not gonna lie, y'all are giving major bottom energy right now. Like, this entire chat is... Stretch out that stretch out that hole. Stretch out that fucking hole. Oh wait, I didn't even press start now. Oh god. Okay, start. 88 seconds, starting from now, okay? Let's see who else is here. Let's see. Mikagi, hello. Gnome of Death, welcome in. Jason is here. Jason 7 of 9, hello. Welcome, Jason Derulo. Switch? Okay, listen. There's no way we have one vote right now for Switch. The poll is up. Get your votes in. Bunch of bottoms. Geez, some lazy bottoms, you guys. This is what I mean. Lazy bottom. Welcome back, Nine. Thank you. I'm glad I'm back from my long, week-long hiatus streaming. Dark Prez, welcome in. Mikagi, hello. Ben is also here. Holy Monka, welcome in. Whichever one requires less work. Pillow Princesses. Melanie's a Pillow Princess confirmed. After this, we're gonna do the typing test, and then we are going to do some switches. Let me go look for the switches, okay? The race starts in 20 seconds, okay? Race starts in 20 seconds, okay? Oh, there's another song. We are caught up on chat. 2 hours. This is one of the longest streams I've had. She a pro writer, he a pro writer. I know, that's such a writing cock, exclamation, no delay. Listen, we're finally caught up on chat after fucking 2.5 hours. Oh god. All right, here we go. Did bottom win? Did bottom win? There's no way. Switches, all the switches just go to bottoms, okay? What is this? Shablam for me? Todrick Hall, I Like Boys. Should we listen to that? Love Game, what's another one? Nasty Girl, let's listen to Nasty. I've been a nasty girl. I've been a nasty girl. Let's listen to Nasty Girl. And then we'll listen to this one that Insty sent. I've been a nasty girl. I've been a nasty girl. Which one is this? Is this another Todrick Hall one? Click. Clit. Alright, here we go. Nasty girl. I've been I don't know how to do the dance. How do you do the dance? Every time I hear this song, I think about Homer Simpson, like, doing this. How do you do the dance? Homer Simpson? I've been a nasty... Is that not what he did? I love that. This is a dance? That's the dance. I did. Oh god, where's everyone? All right, enter the fucking Diva Cup. Okay, who's winning right now? Never, same, never. Oh god, be nice. Switch it up a bit. Switches win. Wow, there are 5 switches in chat. You guys are all lying. Liars! You all are liars. Gay liars. Do gays be lying on Pride Month? Okay. Nasty girl, I've been nasty girl. Also play Daddy as Fuck. Wait, is that the other one? Daddy AF? Daddy AF? Is that by Slater? Okay, I'll play this one next. I'll play Daddy AF next. Frog Speed. I'm whatever he wants me. No way! Can we please not do this? Can we please? No! Ah! Listen, buddy! What the fuck is this? This is fucked up. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? He's thinking about it. Oh, you think you're so funny, Insty. You think you're fucking funny, huh? Does he want it? Does he want it? It's rigged as fuck. Juan is here. Queers in chat. I'm dead. Do you want it, sir? 5 seconds or I'm passing. 5, 4, 3, 2. What next? Pass it? Okay, Manic. If Insty don't want to clam, congratulations. Thank you, Insty, for doing us all a service on Pride Month. Congratulations, Manic Geek, on your novel keys keycaps. Okay. Can you DM me? Can you DM me? Wait, hold on. Let me just send you this form. Hold on. Let me copy. Can I DM you right now? I've been a nasty girl. Where's Manic? Manic Geek. Let me just DM you. Just fill out this form, okay? Congratulations! I love that an ally won. What is it? What is it? I'm dead? I can't? What the fuck? Well, this now, every single NK dance, night I dance. Enjoy! What is our next song? Daddy AF? Okay, we need to do this typing test. After this, we'll do another round of marbles. Don't worry, y'all. Don't worry, my sweet loves. Okay. I'm a fucking models. Who are these? What the fuck is this? What is going on? Why is... Oh, hold up. Okay, I'm sorry. Espresso was playing. What a beautiful remix. Beautiful remix. Okay, no one had a chance. Rigged. Cackling. Pass it. Go Manic. Yes, congrats, Manic. Say it. Daddy as fuck. You have every single NK set, bro. Okay. All right. Oh god, that's not what I want. We're going to monkey type. Where's monkey type? Monkey type. Move it up, down, left, right, oh, switch it up like Nintendo. That song's kind of straight, not gonna lie. I love Sabrina, but that song's kind of straight. I don't know. When is Sabrina gonna come out? Like all the rest of these little singers, like they all be coming out, you know? They all be coming out. It's bye. Okay. Oh god, now it's playing again. Oh god. Oh shit. Okay. This is chaos. Okay. Okay, typing test time. Sure, that's what everyone is here for because they all love keyboards, you know? Booba, boo production. Okay, what the fuck are we doing? Oh, that spacebar be popping. This coochie be popping. Okay, call the spacebar coochie because it be popping. Okay, what are we doing? Right, we're doing a typing test prediction. Okay, this is Boo Production in stock. KBD fans. GMK Lavender. Loop Film Spring Spot 1.2 million actuation broken in MX Browns. No foam on a PC plate. No spacebar gaskets. Here we go. Suck my cunty Reggie Rock with a handbag. Okay. Okay. Lovely. Okay, wait, we gotta do it. Lovely. This sounds a lot better than the Pavlov. I like this a lot better than the Pavlov. This feels a lot like, you know, the mounting. This feels kind of like the KBD MX, whatever fuck, the TKL, the Mark III TKL, the latest TKL. I like this one a lot. Yes, these are browns. I really like this. That's spacebar. Very nice. It's kind of stiff though, but it doesn't have that like that like stiff feeling. You know, it's not like my Kako or anything. It's like, you know, you don't see like much flex. There is some flex, but you know. Up and a nasty. Yes, that Homer Simpson. Yes, that Homer Simpson one. Sexo. Every time I think of nasty girl, I think about that Homer Simpson gif. Every night, oh, that's the me espresso. I'm working late because I'm a lawyer. I actually sing that a lot. I'm working late because I'm a lawyer. I actually sing that, especially when I'm, you know, it's very true and valid that is what happens. Can relate to desperation. My give a fuck. So we're going back to our straight era. Okay, Pride Month is over. You fairies. Pride Month is over, you fairies. Not this way. I know I got him. Too bad your ex won't do it for you. So, oh wait, we gotta do the prediction. Also, we need to do a picture. I know I'm Mountain Dew it for ya. That morning coffee brewed it for ya. Out there, brewed it for ya. Okay, let's take a picture. Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, this last sweet, I guess so. I gotta grope it like, cause it's boobas. I gotta grope it like. There you go. Okay. All right. Time for the next giveaway. We're gonna give away something. I'm a singer. Oh, you look so cute. All right. What are we giving away next? Let's give away some switches. Okay. I got too many fucking switches. Sentry overload in the town, baby. Prediction. Cox and chat. No foam, baby. That's how. This sounds really good. I like this a lot better than the Pavlov. The Pavlov, remember, I had to like mess around with it, force break, do a bunch of foam for it. Bro, it's almost 3 hours in. I can't believe I've been streaming for this long. What is wrong with me? Google Assistant, please translate that. Conte Reggie Rock with a handbag. That poor microphone getting absolutely molestation. Homophobia 1 today, indeed. What are we doing? Oh, right, I need to figure out what the okay, wait, let's go to race menu. Every night, oh, that's the me espresso. I'm working late because I'm a singer. Oh, you look so cute. Oh, wait, this music is really loud. Wrap around my finger. Let's do a fight one. Which one is a gay, like, they need a gay map. Like, listen, it's Pride Month. Why are you not corporate washing, pink washing us? Why are you not cunt washing us? Are they a corporation? Is Marbles a corporation? I want them to cunt wash us. What is this? Let's just do this. Launch, Starfield, Winter Wonderland, maybe it's kind of a little bit gay. Battle Gym is kind of gay because the gays like hitting the gym, you know? I don't know, I'm reaching. I'm working late because I'm a singer. What's this new song that Insty posted? What is this? Oh, wait, I already played this Daddy AF. Hold on, what is this? Purse? We gotta play this Purse song. Exclamation play. I don't even know what the fuck. I'm okay. Let's do Is here not oh, let's send me espresso. Bring up down, left, right, oh, switch your little line and tender. If you can't sleep, baby, I know. Let's send me espresso. Oh, actually, I look so cute right around my finger. I'm with you. Do y'all want me to give away some Zakus? Do y'all want me to give away some Zakus? What if I give away 90 lubed and film Zakus? Are you guys gonna be happy with that? Is that okay? I have like fucking like 300 lube and film Zakus because I fucking went in on that shit. Let me finish my cereal. I'm working. Okay. I'm eating. I'm working late because I'm a singer. Okay. Lube plus film Zakus. I think there's like 90 maybe. 90 lube and film Zakus, okay? There you go. Okay? There you go. 80 seconds, 88 seconds. Okay, a lot of flex. We're flexing. Bricked up weak or bricked up 100% bricked up. Boob. Such nice boobs give browns. You're giving us away. Nice caca. Keep Science. Welcome in. Hello, Keep Science. We're being very gay right now. This is a gay stream, okay? Exclamation gay, please. Last gay standing. Exclamation play. Makamora. Shout out to Makamora. Did we get a shout out to Makamora? I'm gonna shout out the people I don't know who got a shout out. Stinky Man, shout out. Makamora. Who else? Unborn. Let's see. Who else did I say? Parse. Did we get a shout out to Exploding Corn? Shout out Exploding Corn. Makamora. Hello. Yee. Hello. Welcome in. Yee. Parse, stir, snatch, cunt. I want to make a gay song and I'm just like cunt. And I bet like the gays would love it if I just said cunt. There's another gay song. Incy really knows all the fucking gay songs. All the fucking gay songs. Okay. Oh wait, it's starting. Okay, 20 seconds. Diabolical Yam. Hello, Yam. Welcome in. Spaceball is really unplayed. You're banned from all marbles races in the future. Oh, love it. This is so good. I love Crave cereal. Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored. All right, here we go. Battle it out. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Who's fighting? Who's fighting who? Target random instigator wins again. If he does, I will hate crime him. I will commit a federal hate crime upon this man, okay? On multiple counts. Not just on sexuality, but race too. And national origin. Okay, anyway, what's happening? Please do me Zakus. I hate them. Why do you hate them? Excuse me. You spin me around, baby. Socks, good morning. Hello. Everyone has too many Zakus. I don't hate Zakus. I just have too many. I have too many. I hoarded them. Hello, Makamora. Hello, Keep Science. Hello. What's up, Makamora? Part of the Canadian gang as well. This one's for the switches. This is a song called Switch. It's for the switches in chat. Casual Topra enjoyer, welcome in. It's for the quote unquote. What the fuck was that? Yes. Can we make an entire playlist of this? Insty, can you prepare an entire playlist of just like really, really gay music? Like the worst music you've ever heard, but like gay people love it. Can you make that? That's the category. Category is worst music you've ever heard, but like you would bop to it in a gay nightclub. You spin you right now like a baby right round. Does that do something? Target, I don't think the targeting does. I don't know if Target does anything actually. I'm really late. Knuckin' Futz, my dyke stepmom, you're late. You're late to the fucking pride party. The pride party of the fucking year, okay? Oh, you're Michigan. Oh, I didn't know you were Michigan. Are you coming to another meetup? Wait, are you, Keep Signs, are you also Michigan? I'm going to the Mode one, and I'm going to Keep Life. Those are the only ones I'm going to this year. So Keep Life and Mode meetup. Michigan Extreme Course, hello? Depends on the settings. No way Kev wins again. Hold up, no way. What's happening? Asshole and Kev are fighting it out? Yo, what the fuck? The 60 stream? Holy shit, Asshole is huge though. Yo, who's gonna win? Oh my god! Oh my god, look how big he is! Oh my god! Oh, you're in Toronto! Oh, you're part of the okay, you're a Canadian. Look at this. Rest in fucking pieces. Oh my god, it's Jover. It is Jover. More switches for Asshole. Clams, Asshole, Clams. Congratulations, Asshole. Let me send you the form. Oh, fuck. Let me send it to you. Fuck, I'm sorry about my burping. Okay, let me send it to you. Let me send you the form. Where are you? One of the... Here you are. I sent you the form. Please fill it out. Okay, thank you very much. So cunt. That's one big ball. Rig. Koala says rig. Did we get a shout out to Koala? Shout out to Koala as well. Shout out Koala. Okay? Koala and Asshole, my gay lover child. Stop the count. Stop the count. It's rigged. Okay, anyway. They rigged it. 34 counts. They rigged it all against me. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn the music down, okay? Anyway, the boop, the boopity boop, the boopity scoop, boopity boop, whoopty boopity boop. Anyway, okay. The boop redux, okay? This is Google search. Where is it? Where is the boop? It's not showing up. Boop. Boop. Where's boop? Boop, boop. Is the boop not showing up? Boop, boop redux. There you go. There you go. It is in stock right now. Limited. Okay, in stock. Limited. There's only 3 left of this one. If you want to be matching with me, there's only 3 left. Okay. You can do a extra accessories. Okay, lovely, lovely. Comes with this 3 plates. You know, there's lots of stuff happening. Silicone gasket mount. Love it, love it. Play options on point, baby. We love to see it. Inner badge, outer badge, baby. Boob reduction. We love it. We love getting a boob chopped off, okay? Anyway, it was huge. Party over. Boob reduction. Did you like the boob? I actually like the boob a lot compared to the Pavlov because I built it's like in stock around the same time. I do like the boob. I do like the boob. It's very simple to build, very easy, very straightforward. All 34 counts. Okay, I can't. I need to stop doing that. Yes, here it is, the booba in all its glory. Thank you very much for joining the stream. I love boobs. Very nice. All 34 counts. They rigged it against me. Everyone is rigged. Okay. Okay, I need to stop that. Let me stop. Okay. Let's see. Did you like the Bip? Isn't Bip the designer of this? Isn't Bip under boob? Which one is the best boob? Under, side, or over boob? Okay, anyway. We are going to raid out. We are, that was a stream. Anyone have any questions? Questions for me? Any questions? Let's see, please. Oh, are they a keyboard streamer? Hold on. Wait, I can't see the balls thing. Is a Phoenix TTV. Are they the balls? Are they doing keyboards? Keyboard stuff? Are they doing keyboards? Under, I'm biased. Have a good rest of your night. He's gaming, but he does Legos. Ooh, okay. Do y'all wanna go to a Lego stream or do y'all wanna go to a keyboard stream? Which one do y'all want? I'm fine with either. I'm fine with either. Hey, you sexy noodle has played. You know, this person's LGBTQ, very queer. Diego? Ariola is also keyboard. Y'all want keyboard stuff? Let me give your friend a follow. Phoenix TTV. Titty? Okay, looks like Ariella and Diego are doing keyboards. You want to go to Ariola? I want to go to Hot Tub Stream. Okay, where's Meow Go? Okay, I gave your friend a follow. Let's give your friend a shout out as well at, oh god. I hope I'm not spelling this wrong. At Phoenix. I just followed. At Phoenix TTB. Let's give your good friend a shout out. There you go. You want keyboard hot tub stream? I'm sorry, okay? Not everyone can do keyboard hot tub streams. Okay, let's see. Ariella is streaming. Y'all want to go to Ariella? Okay, let's go to Ariella Studies. Y'all want to do that? Okay, is it spelled right? Okay, we're gonna go to Ariella. Thank you, Naya. Happy Pride, everyone. Wait, invalid username. Is that not her username? Wait, what the fuck? Why did I not raid? Is that not her name? The house invalid. Why does it say invalid username? Oh, it's because I'm putting the at, bro. I don't know how to raid people. Okay, I will be live again on Thursday. I'll be building the Victus Cine, by the way, for everyone. Victus Design is doing a big, huge, massive, absolutely large, huge final closing sale. Like, everything has to go. You can buy a rejected top. They actually called it rejected top and rejected bottom. And just buy you can basically have a whole build for like you just need to get a weight though. But it's a crazy sale. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, I almost rated the wrong username. Dude, I need to fucking Ariella Studies. Victus Design. My good friend Blind Assassin. Victus Design doing a final sale. There's some rejected tops and rejected bottoms, okay? Hold on. Victus Design. Okay. Victus Cine, there's some extra. So we're going to be building that on Thursday, okay? It's at 6:30. So this is the board we're going to be building, okay? Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate it. Go check out the booth. Very cool board, very cool design. If you're into 65s, you'll love it, okay? Happy Pride Month, my loves. Be gay, be free, suck dick. Suck clit and suck dick. Okay. All right. Enjoy it. Okay. Gay. Wait, what should our raid message be? There's no raid message. Gay. Should it just be gay? But like with a bunch of Y's? Gay. Hold message for sexuality gender. That's offensive as fuck. This is our raid message. Gay. There you go. Just do that. Gay. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. See y'all on Thursday. Have a lovely week. Happy Pride Month. Okay. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye.